the other show, I got these two shows mixed up. The other show that I watched was called Marriage and Betrayal, I believe. And those had like stories about like married couples doing crazy stuff to each other. And this one was like really, really wild. So this guy, he was a doctor. Um, he was like a Haitian doctor, and he had married this woman and had two kids. And apparently he was, I don't know, he was leaving somewhere and he was crossing the street. He got hit by a car, and he went to the hospital. And when the wife that they introduced as his wife, she went to the hospital, there was another woman there beside him at the bed. And the first one was like, "Well, who are you? Why are you sitting by my husband's bed? Like, who are you?" And it's like, "Your husband, this is my husband, and who are you?" She was like, "We've been married for like, um, I don't know, like 20 years or something." And she was like, "No, he's my husband. We've been married for like 15 years and we got two kids." And so the man's doctor came in and was like, "Y'all got to cut this out. What's going on?" And he's like, "Well, does anyone have any proof that you're married to this man? Does anyone have any documentation?" I don't know what kind of paperwork the second lady pulled out, but she pulled out some kind of document. They were like, "Okay, well, they're married. You don't have anything, so you have to leave." And the first woman left, and she would come back and visit, her husband as he's laying in the hospital bed. Um, but she would come and visit while the second woman was not there because, they would get into it. And so the husband eventually dies, and then she's still trying to like, they still don't know what's going on. Who is this lady that's claiming that she's his wife, when she was like, I I married this guy, we had two kids. He was living at the house with her and their kids, and what is going on? And so at first I thought it was just like a side chick thing, but it was so much more than that. So I mean, it was a side chick thing, but so it was a lot of mess going on. So when the funeral, because they were trying to figure out, okay, so when the husband died, he had a life insurance policy, he had stocks and assets, he had property, like he had the house he lived in with the first woman, and then he had a house with the second woman. He had like some apartments, a townhouse. He had like a business, some kind of storefront or something with some apartments above it. And they were like, "Okay, well, what are we gonna do?" Um, so the first woman went to their townhouse that they had in Brooklyn, and she was looking through stuff. She was looking through stuff. She found some divorce papers with her husband's signature and her signature on it. So she takes it to this lawyer, and she was like, "I don't ever remember signing anything like this. My husband never brought me any kind of divorce papers to sign. Like, this never happened. I don't remember this happening." And so her and the lawyer went to like this handwriting expert or something, and they did their little work. They had her sign something right there in front of them, and they were like, the hand analysis guy was like, "This is a forgery. These two signatures don't match. One looks very deliberate, like someone, is not doing their own signature, but they're like trying to go carefully to make sure they don't mess up." So they went to court, and the judge was like, "Okay, your marriage, the second lady, your marriage is fake. First lady, your marriage is valid because he was still legally married to her, and these divorce papers have been forged. So that means your the second marriage to you is not legit. It's not real." So she had no claim to any of the assets, and she was upset. So the first wife ended up, his two children that he had with the second wife, they split the inheritance with, like, I guess her and her kids. So the second wife's kids got something, And she was like, I'll let the woman keep the house that she's living in, but she's selling the other apartment. And then there was like this business. Okay, so there was like this business that the second wife had with the husband's brother. They ran like this beauty supply business. And then I think above the business or something, there was like some apartments. So they were making like income. And the woman sent them like this letter through her lawyers, like, y'all need to shut down this business. Don't be collecting no more money, because this money, these assets belongs to me. Like, she was gonna like sell this. And her brother-in-law and this other woman were like, no, we're not, this is not gonna happen. And so they showed in the little reenactment that she confronted the brother-in-law, and he was like, I don't know what to say. I don't know nothing about this. Meanwhile, he had a whole business with the other woman that the real wife didn't know about. He was lying the whole time. Like, you knew all this. And then another thing that happened, when they got ready to do the funeral, he was talking to the first wife, the real wife, and was like, you need to like buy this casket. I need 7 limousines. You need to buy this for the funeral, this and this and this. And she was like, I don't have money to be buying all this. And he was like, yeah, you got money. You got the insurance policy. You got all this stuff. And he was like, okay, we need 7 limousines for all this stuff. And she was like, no, we're not paying for this. And so she didn't want to pay for it. He got mad. And I don't know how he ended up paying for the funeral, but she didn't end up paying for the funeral. They didn't even allow her and her kids to go to the funeral. They were like, the second woman is the real true wife. We don't like you. You're not coming to the funeral. Your kids are not coming to the funeral. Her and her husband's kids, those were his kids. They couldn't come to the funeral. They didn't come to the funeral. And he was upset because she didn't want to pay for all this outlandish stuff that he was trying to do, all these 20, 40, 50 limousines for all these people in the family and everybody in Haiti that was looking up to him and stuff. And I was like, I'm not finna do all this. And then and so they were getting all this stuff settled. They had buried the husband, I guess, and so the wife was trying to get all these assets and stuff cleared up. So one day, the wife is coming out out of her house, like in the front of her house, to get in her car one night to go to work, because I think she was a nurse as well at like a hospital. And she said she went back inside because like something was up with the car. Like, she went outside or she looked outside or something, and there was like a light on in the car, or like the outside light was on. I think it was like a motion light or something. I don't know. Some kind of light was on, and she was like, what's going on? And she turned back around to go back inside. And when she turned back around to go back inside, these people came and they started shooting at her, and they shot her like in her hand and her arm and something. And they were like, if she hadn't turned around, they were like shot her in her head and stuff. And so she runs in the house and closed the door, and then the shooters take off, and so they got this going on. And the police started trying to investigate, and they were like, like, what's going on? Like, what happened? And so they find these 3 guys. It was 2 guys or 3 guys, but it was some guys that were hired by the brother-in-law to kill the sister-in-law, because he was upset because she didn't want to pay for the funeral. She didn't want to do what he said. She didn't want to do what he wanted to do. And also that she was making them shut down that business. And him and that woman, they wanted like the income, and they was like, no, you can't shut down the business. But they were all like sneaky. The brother-in-law, the husband, this other woman. Well, the other woman, I don't think she didn't. Maybe she didn't know about the first wife, because according to her, the first wife, that he was married, but they got a divorce. She saw these divorce papers, so maybe she never really knew. But the brother in-law definitely knew, because he was over at their house all the time. So he definitely knew that he had someone, that his brother had someone that he was claiming to be married to, while he was also saying he was being married to the second woman. And so the brother ended up, I don't know, I think he getting like life or like something. He got a lot of time. And then the other two people that were like the driver and like a shooter, another shooter or something. I think the brother hired like these two dudes to go like take care of it. I don't think the brother was actually there, but I think he got charged for like orchestrating the whole thing. What else? There was something else that was weird that happened. I can't think of what it was now, because the brother went to jail. Oh, okay. So this was weird. They didn't really technically know how he was able to get these fake divorce papers, because they were like, okay, you have to go and get them notarized in front of somebody, the person that's declaring the divorce has to get the other person to sign, but the other person that is supposed to sign, it has to be in front of a notary. And they were like, how did he do that? And they were like, he must have gotten some woman to come up in there and act like that was the real wife, and be like, oh yeah, we're getting divorced. And he came in there with somebody together. And I was just like, how in the world was he able to do this? Like, okay, you get someone to sign, okay, you find some woman, I guess he paid some woman to come in there and stand in as the wife, and be like, okay, we're getting divorced. Why not just divorce her? Because it just seemed like it would have been just so much easier just to divorce the woman, just divorce the first wife, because he had like a whole family, and he was living with both of them at the same time while working full-time as a doctor. And I was like, how do you, it went on, it seemed like, for a long time, because the second wife, she said something like, we were married for like 15 years. And so I'm like, 15 years, he's married to the second woman, but he was with the first one the whole time, and he had 2 kids with each. How do you sort all that out? It just seemed like it would have been it would have been more easier, just to divorce, like, to do all that. It was so crazy. I ended up Googling this guy, because it was so crazy. I was like wondering what happened to the woman. So the wife that got shot, attempted murder, she survived. I don't think the second woman had anything to do with it, from what I remember, but these are the craziest, like, reenactments, shows I'd ever seen. Like, I couldn't believe, like, when they spilled the thing with the 2 women, because they did that real fast. He got hit, and I was wondering if if the second wife had him run over, like, how he just happened. Just happened. Like, if he hadn't got hit, they probably wouldn't have found out till, maybe like years later. Maybe they never would have found out. I don't know. Because if you go for like 15 years doing this, how much longer could he have gone on? But the only thing that stopped him, and he died, like, so they never got to be mad at him or to question him or to be like, what is wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like, he kind of got away with it still, because he's not here to like deal with the repercussions or deal with like the scandal and like the rumors and the gossip and stuff. Like, he's gone. That kind of annoyed me too, because I was like, you can't even be mad at your husband for doing something like this, because he's gone, and then you and these kids and the other woman trying to sort this mess out that he caused. Behind all of this, she almost lost her life behind all of this mess that the husband started. And then the brother-in-law had the nerve of trying to kill her, and I was like, If it wasn't for your brother, none of this wouldn't have happened. He couldn't have just helped you out and helped you start a business, but now he got you pulled in with this mess and you don't want to lose your business. Like, but he want to kill the sister-in-law and he trying to get mad at her about this funeral. And I was like, dig up your brother and get mad at him. Fight him. Like, it was ridiculous. I was just like, this is insane. Like, I've not been shook by things in a while. Like, it's just so scandalous and ridiculous. It's like, this is the stuff of soap operas and like drama. It's like a Tyler Perry movie. It's like this, but apparently it does happen in real life. So Tyler Perry movies are inspired by real life, but it's insane. The doctor, his name was Jean-Claude. I'm gonna see if I can find it. And then people can Google. His name was Jean. I'm just gonna type in. Okay, I typed in Jean-Claude Doctor, and it pulled up. His name was Jean-Claude Dominique. He was a Haitian doctor. They were living in New York. His wife was named like Eliette Dominique, and I forgot the second wife's name. But it was scandalous. I was just like, there is no way. There's no way. And it was pretty recent. The stories, the articles go back to 2000. So it wasn't that long ago, when the husband got killed, around that time and all this stuff was happening. It was like the 2000s. But Google, his name is Jean-Claude Dominique. That's the man's name, the one that died. His wife's name is Eliette Dominique. Those only two names that pulled up. There was like other people, but I don't know what happened to the second wife. I mean, the second side chick. Or what happened to their kids or anything. But the brother, I think from what I remember, they did at the end of the story. The brother's in jail, and then his two accomplices are in jail. But